Howdy. Oh, I'm just so proud to be here. Just proud to have you folks here too. Are y'all having a good time out here at Smyrna Depot days? Oh, I'm telling you what, I'm just so glad to be here, and I thought, well, I know I'm going to look nice because I got this dress just special to come up here. I didn't pay a lot for this dress. In fact, I got it for a bargain. I heard one old feller say I must have got it for a ridiculous figure. Yeah, you folks can go ahead and laugh. It don't get no better. But I started in out there, and there's these two old fellers talking, and I heard them as I walked by, and one of them said, you know what, I believe that's the ugliest old woman I ever did see. Another one said, yeah, she's ugly all right, but she might be a pretty good old gal. You know, beauty's only skin deep. Another one said, well, let's skin her. Then another one said, you know what, I believe I recognize her. That's that old Minnie Pearl. She's been down there at the Grand Ole Opry for 175 years. He said, she carries on like she's from the country. He said, I bet she ain't from the country. I bet she don't know a goose from a gander. I smiled and said, well, at Grinder Switch, we don't worry about that. We just put them all out there together and let them figure it out for themselves. Yeah. Woo! Now, Grinder Switch, that's where I come from. That's about 60 miles west of Nashville, just this side of resumed speed. Yeah, and it's the finest old place you ever would see. I wish all y'all could come out there and drop in for a visit. Oh, and before I come up here today, I done found out all the latest news, and Lord have mercy, I done found out Miss Alston Tugwell done had her 16th young'un. Yeah, she's had 16 altogether. Well, no, not altogether, 1 or 2 at a time. But she's had so many young'uns, I said, I declare, Miss Tugwell, there must be an awful lot of excitement. She said, well, she'd had so many young'uns that she'd run out of names to call her husband. Yeah, she ain't like Miss Lynn Perkins. Miss Lynn Perkins named her little young'uns Eeny, Meeny, Miny, and Sam. They ain't gonna be no more. Yeah, but Miss Tugwell said the other day she was washing one of her little young'uns, and a telephone rung in the next room, and she went in there to answer it, and when she come back, that little young'un was gone. She couldn't find him no place, and she knowed he's running around in his little birthday suit. And she heard a noise out on the back porch, and she said, are you running around out there without your little panties on? And a man's gruff voice said, no, ma'am, I'm reading the light meter. Woo! She's so embarrassed she couldn't face that feller. She's thinking of switching to gas. Yeah. And a few weeks back, Miss Tugwell told me some of her little young'uns was playing out there in the back pasture, and one of them paratroopers from up there at Fort Campbell, where they learned them fellers to bail out of them airplanes and land with one of them parachutes, one of them just flew over and bailed out and landed right there where her little young'uns was a-playing. Scared them to death. They took off running towards the house, and one of them hollered, oh, Pappy, come quick. The stork's done took to dropping them full grown. Yeah, I'm telling you what. And we are all in a buzz there at Grinder Switch about that presidential election that's coming up, you know, and you know all them fellers that's trying to get elected for president and doing all them political speeches. Well, I was over there at Seth Jones's dairy the other day. Now, he's got a dairy, sure enough. And I was over there, and he had done wired his barn where his heifers was at, and he had done put some speakers in there. And that radio was coming through, and all them political speeches was coming through. And I said, well, what did you do that for? And he said, oh, them heifers is just so happy when they hear them political speeches. Said, look like they don't know one kind of bull from another. Yeah. And isn't it something how everybody's trying to get thin? Have you ever seen anything like it? Well, I can see some of you hadn't. Well, Miss Lizzie Tinkham, she's an old maid at Grinder Switch. She hadn't never been married or anything. Well, she's trying to get thin. She's fell off and got so thin they have to starch her underwear to hold her up. Yeah, she's got an old hound dog that took her out in the backyard and married her 3 times. But she's and she's really trying to look young. I'm telling you what, she had her face lifted. She went to one of them plastered surgeons, and I'm telling you what, she really is trying to look young, I declare. But Miss Lizzie Tinkham, she called up the fire department the other day. Oh, we've got a fire department now at Grinder's Switch. Yeah. We used to have a bucket brigade. My Uncle Nabob was head of the bucket brigade. He's about the biggest bucket head ever come out of Grinder's Switch. But so we got a fire engine, and they keep a sign on it that says, "May this fire engine be like all the old maids at Grinder's Switch. Always ready and never called for her." But it's a good fire department, sure enough. Why, the other day, see Jones's barn caught on fire. Ordinarily, it'd have burned out by noon. Fire department kept it burning all day long. Yeah. But Miss Lizzie Tinkham, she called up the man there at the fire department. She said, "Quick, send the fire department. There's a man trying to get my upstairs window." And the feller says, "Well, Miss Lizzie, you don't need the fire department. Says you need the police department." She says, "No, I need the fire department. He needs a longer ladder." Yeah, I'm telling you what. And I mentioned my Uncle Nabob, and I got to tell y'all about him. I'm telling you what, he is the nicest fella you ever would meet. He don't ever do much, though. He ain't a failure, he really ain't. He just started at the bottom, and he likes it there. Yeah. He's been known to dip into the corn squeezings every now and again. He says it's to steady his nerves. Sometimes he gets so steady he don't move at all. Well, my Aunt Ambrosia done had enough of that. She knowed he was going to be out that night, and she thought, well, I'm going to fix him. So she went down there at the general store and got her one of them false faces like the youngins wear at Halloween. She come back and put that false face on and got her big white sheet, pulled it up over her head, and hid in the bushes, waiting for Uncle Nabob to come home. Well, sure enough, right about midnight, he come a-weaving on in there, and she jumped up and hollered, "Boo, I'm the devil." Uncle Nabob says, "Well, shake hands with your kinfolk. I married your sister." Yeah, he'll be all right when he gets out of the hospital. But we had back earlier this summer, me and Sister went to Nashville to do some shopping, and we took Uncle Nabob with us, and we went to one of them department stores, and the sales lady was showing Sister some clothes, and she said, "You see, you take this little dress here, and you take off this little bolero here, and you got you a sunsuit. Then you take off this little skirt here, and you got you a bathing suit." Uncle Nabob says, "Yeah, you take off any more and you got you a lawsuit." Yeah, I'm telling you what. But we had the best time that day, and later on that afternoon, Uncle Nabob says, "You know what? I believe I'd like to go to the picture show." And I said, "Well, all right, go on to the picture show." But he stayed so long, like to never come out. And I thought, well, I better go down there at that theater and check on him. So I went in there and I said, "Well, Uncle Nabob, how many times have you saw this show?" He said, "Oh, about 3 times. And I said, "Well, what'd you look at it so many times for?" And he said, "Girl, there's a place in this here movie where there's some girls, and they're getting ready to go in swimming. And just as they start to take all of their clothes off," he said, "there's a freight train comes through there." He said, "I've done sat through here 3 times. I keep hoping sometime or another that freight train's going to be late." Yeah, that Uncle Nabob, he sure does like to look at the pretty girls. Why, the other day it was, me and him and Aunt Ambrosia was walking down the street, a pretty girl walked by, and he kind of rolled his eyes over at her. And Aunt Ambrosia jerked him around and said, "What do you mean you a married man looking at that pretty woman like that?" He said, "Well, just because I'm on a diet don't mean I can't look at the menu." Thank you so much, and God bless you folks. Have a good day.